Wonder Woman issue 29, legacy number 829. Stephanie Williams writing with Jeffrey Spokes on the art. So this is part one of a two-part fill-in story where Tom King's taking a break for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe he's writing something for James Gunn or something, who knows. But we have a team here doing a two-part story where it starts off with Diana with Lizzie on Themyscira, and she's clearly beaten down. She's been dealing with all these things going on, and she's worn down. And Nubia and the other Amazons are like, hey, it's okay to admit that you need some help and you need a break. Like, leave the baby with us. We'll take care of Lizzie. We're an entire island of Amazons, right? It took all of us to raise you, so we'll all work together to help raise Lizzie a little bit, or at least give you a weekend off. So Wonder Woman actually leaves the book. She's like, okay, thank you, sisters. I'm off. It leaves you there. And all the Wonder Girls show up as well to help take care of Lizzie. So we get Yara and Donna and Cassie all there. And then the main plot of the issue is basically that they all start getting really competitive when they're trying to like spar in front of Lizzie to entertain her. Because they think, oh, maybe we should see her first combat, and I'm like, that's a bit weird. But then they're like, hey, maybe she'll just like the noises and the movement. They're like, okay, fair enough, I guess. But they all start getting really competitive. They start like really opening deep wounds where they're starting to like almost voice like maybe something that's slightly true, but they turn it into like a 10 where they're like, oh, you're like a copy of Diana. You're a worthless whore, Donna. And I shouldn't say that, but it gets to that point where they're being really mean to each other.
Yeah. It was almost like a group therapy where someone started to take their, personal reasons out instead of like having a safe space to voice something. They're just like, yeah, you're not even really an Amazon. What are you even doing here? And it's like, whoa, what are you saying F me for? And they pick out that there's something going on.
Yeah. By the end, it's clear there's an influence here because the others aren't being affected by it, at least not yet. And they're like, wait, what's going on with these three? Why are they actually fighting properly now? And then the ending kind of teases like to who's behind it. So it's like, I have to admit, this did feel a bit fill-in to me. Like, what? So once they started getting angry at each other, I'm like, oh, is that what this is going to be? Is like a sort of separate little thing where the Wonder Girls are all getting mad at each other? And I don't know, I love them getting book time. I love their inclusion and all the stuff with the Monarch, and the build up to that finale. I love their inclusion and all that. Oh, the Patriarch. Sorry, I'm mixing my regal words up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's essentially the same thing, but still,
No, you're right. You're right.
The thing with them having issues with one another and stuff like that's fine, but I felt like their banter was really a strong point, and I don't feel like Williams really got the banter down. Like it's there, but it wasn't nearly as good as we've seen it. And I don't know if that's the conflict coming into it.
Yeah,
right?
And I think that's the problem. Is that like one of the things that I've liked so much about the Wonder Girls in this run before now is like the kind of the chemistry they have with each other. But the entire premise of this is that they immediately lose that chemistry because they start getting mad and fighting, and it's like, one of the most tired things in comic books in general is an excuse for the heroes to fight each other. Now, sometimes it can be with good reason, and if it's built up to well enough where, you've got like a Civil War thing brewing where like Batman feels one way, Superman feels another, maybe it actually feels like a big deal when they start working against each other or something. But that's not what this is. This is like, no, magic's involved and they're suddenly trying to kill each other. And it's like, oh, why are we trying to kill each other? And that's basically it. And there's a lot of obviously fighting between them. That's what a lot of the pages are in the art. And they're like, hey, this is weird. And they also say that it seems like this happened not because Lizzie's not the fault of it, but Lizzie's the catalyst that amplified it. Almost like it brought out their competitiveness because they all want to prove why they're more important to Lizzie. Was kind of the idea. So they're looking around, being okay, what caused this? And then we see I forget her name.
It's Eris, but it's also Strife. She's the goddess.
Strife, that's the word I was trying to think of, yeah.
Yep.
Strife is like hiding behind a curtain, smirking, being like, aha, they were all fighting, my plan's going well, or whatever. The goddess of discord. There we go, that's what Nubia calls her. Well, the goddess of discord should fix her app so that it runs more smoothly.
Yes, get on it, Eris. But like, I like what they say here, where the the blonde Amazon comes up and says every great Amazon conflict began this way. Sisters turned against sisters, whispered by doubts made thunderous. And I do like that tie-in to where this is kind of going. Like, we know with the matriarch and what she's gonna do with Diana's legacy going forward. So the fact like this is like the prologue to it, like they gotta stand together and all still stand alone. So I do like at least Williams tries to play with that. But yeah, it just seemed like they were, filling out panels to have the Wonder Girls fight instead of get more into the story. So I hope part 2 of this digs down into a little bit more of like what that means between the Amazons. Like, what is Strife being able to, get into there just because of this baby, right? Like, that seemed to be that left the door open a little bit, right? That was a little bit of the wedge.
Yeah, like, I don't want to
be like that.
Yeah, I don't want to be too negative because I don't think it's like a completely separate, like, oh, this is just a fill-in story that sucks, because I don't think it is that. I think there's some thematic things here that make sense to me, and it's still developing the idea of Lizzie, if not in of herself, but more just so like the way the others around her are. Like, obviously we're doing tons with Diana looking after her, but seeing the Wonder Girls here be involved with her, and like, so we are addressing kind of the status quo and what what the Amazons think of Lizzie and that they're there for her. Like, it does feel like it fits into the run, because I don't want to say that it doesn't, because it absolutely does.
Yeah,
it's just that once the turn happens where they all start getting like into their tempers and they all start fighting and saying mean things to each other and calling each other out for their weaknesses, it just kind of felt like, oh, we just jumped to this so suddenly, when the start of the issue almost made me kind of like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I almost expected like kind of a lighthearted, oh, it's going to be like 3 men and a baby, but 3 Wonder Girls and a baby. I was expecting a lighthearted, oh, the ants are looking after her kind of story.
Yeah, like the idea that Cass is like, no, we got to go take her to do this. But Yara's like, no, babies don't like to do that. That's what I was expecting. With along of that banter that we've gotten with them. Yeah, all of their
chemistry would be shining in that potential story. So when it took its turn, I went, oh, we're doing like a magic influence, and like there's a I was I know it's weird to say this, but I was disappointed there was some kind of villainous force. I was kind of thinking it was going to be more of a light-hearted little 2-parter where it's just them looking after her for a weekend and all the hijinks they get into.
Especially how dark it got with the Mouse Man stuff. You know, I thought this would be an uptick from there. But I do like the idea of this baby causing discord amongst the Amazons, right? And and how this would play out here. It just happens like there's an actual physical representation of strife, right? In the god realms here. But curious to see where it goes, especially with Diana trying to rest. Like, we know that what type of person Diana is. Diana hears that this goddess is hanging around. She's gonna come running back. So
maybe. I don't know. Part of me kind of thinks they'll wrap it up and then she'll come back after, and they'll almost do the ending to that hijink story that I talked about, where they'll just say, yeah, it was fine. We had a couple of days, nothing to worry about, but we saw that they were fighting, maybe, a goddess.
Yes.
Yeah, it almost feels like, hey, do you want to do this little fill-in story, but leave Diana alone, because I know what I'm doing next with her, so you just do some fun stuff with the others.
Yeah. And I'll say the art's fully on anything. We've talked about this with Spokes. I feel like the breakdowns and the action, everything is handled well. It's just kind of the character designs and some of the faces, they get very samey.
Yeah, I mean,
like the expressions sometimes are blank.
I mean, having said that, out of the books we've talked about, this is the best art we've had yet out of the books, which is a shame, because Spokes is I think solid enough for the most part, although I do agree that I think that the faces feel a little bit flat sometimes for me. And there's one or two, there's a full page spread near the end where they've realized there's a problem and someone's influencing them, and they're all looking around, and I think it's like Cassie, whose pose in the front just looks kind of like overly like, I'm posing for a photo kind of pose. But
she's, as the kids would say, she's aura farming. I
have never heard that. Aura farming? That's a thing they say?
Aura farming.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It's when someone's trying to look cool, right? Oh man, I just showed my whole self. The children.
Yes, they need to go touch grass, as they also say.
Yes. But I will say, but like the next page, the last page, keeping Eris or Strife, whatever we're calling her, in the shadows, and the way that he just draws the smile on that last panel, right? It makes it very creepy, and like that's where I feel like Spoke's art is handled very well. And again, in the fight scenes, like seeing each of their different fighting styles gets put on display. Like, you know, we have like just the page of them coming together. You know, Yara's up in the air, and Donna is in a full like kind of Wonder Woman pose, and Cassie's kind of doing her own thing. You know, so I do appreciate the attention to detail there. You know, but it's just kind of the smaller things like the flat faces and some of the posing issues. But yeah, again, it's not. I don't want to say it's terrible. I guess it comes down to taste.
Yeah, I mean, I stand by. It's the best art we've had so far. The books we've talked about. So, yeah. So I'm a bit lukewarm on the issue. I think I would say. I think it is. You know, I'm sure the people who've been hating Tom King's run probably think it's much better than what they've been getting. But I'm the opposite, so I'm not as into this as much.
Yeah, I've already seen a lot of that, and I was like, guys, it was one issue. Like, I get it. Like what you like, don't like what you don't like. But coming in and be like, oh my god, this blows it off the hinges, and I was like, y'all are just saying things on the internet.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to the next arc by King Simpier, but
you and me both.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. I'm glad it's only 2 issues. I think if this was going to be like a full arc, I'd probably be a little bit like, oh, really? We're going to have to wait 6 months kind of thing.
Yeah. Stephen Williams did do the Nubia book, right? Because I just tried to pull it up, and the Comic Geeks gets weird about,
I guess weird.
I
mean, that sounds plausible. I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it sounds plausible enough.
Because I got to say, all the Amazonian stuff feels right. Like it feels like there's some familiarity, So, but yeah, it's just another good Wonder Woman issue. Like we're kind of spoiled at this point.
She did do
Someone
Nubia.
else can come in and still pull it. Okay.
Yeah, Nubia in the Amazons.
That's what I thought.
Which, wait, 18? How's it? Oh, it's because it's got collections and variants and stuff. I was like, there wasn't 18 issues of that, I'm sure, but yeah. She did that. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is someone who's worked with these characters before, and seems to have a handle of what they are. So, no.
Yeah.
All right. I think just premise-wise, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. I guess I'm just not that excited about this, but that's okay.
Yeah.
What are you giving Wonder Woman 29, Matt?
I'm gonna go with a straight 8.
Really, that's a bit higher than I was expecting. I think I'm going with I'll say 6.5. I think it's decent, but not quite hitting good. So I'll put it right in between those 2 scores for me. But I can't say I'm that enthusiastic about it. So I'm kind of just like, we'll get to the next one and we'll get back to the regular run.